After that beautiful evening yesterday, when we had a barbecue on a rock in absolutely marvelous conditions, we are now today preparing for the last leg from Hellandsjøen to Trondheim, where Markus and Nina will leave us tomorrow. Our route today leads us from here, from Hellandsjøen, for 52 nautical miles across this sound and down into the fjord into Trondheim. It's an easy route, 52 nautical miles. The weather should be fine, no wind probably, or not enough, and calm and sunny and warm.
And it's 6:45.
Morning.
Morning. It's kind of a workout, it looks like.
It is. We have a nice control if you're doing it right or not.
Perfect.
And indeed, the water magically mirrors the beautiful surroundings as we leave on this peaceful morning.
I can see you far and wide across the ocean, above the clouds. In your presence, I am free. I hear your whisper through the wind.
Beautiful morning.
Here, right now, there's no place that I would rather be. So let this moment last. I've searched myself, I've tried to figure out who I am, and you were always there to lift me up, 'cause no one else can make me love like you. You give me strength, Lord, I finally know where I belong.
We think we have identified a promising fishing spot on the chart, and we decide to try our luck. And the reward is a small cod.
Oh wow!
Das ist aber ein schöner. And here comes another one. So. These, nevertheless, are just small fry. And in the future, we'll learn how to catch the bigger ones.
Oh wow!
This, however, is a sigh, and we just have not fallen in love with these fish yet. Although the Norwegians consider them the best fish in summertime. We were told to boil them. But hey, who boils fish?
Gibt es keine Blöße jetzt?
Nein, das geht nicht. Ja, wir müssen noch zuerst. Wir müssen so lange. Aber da kannst du den Motor abstellen. Da ist noch die Jakobsleine. Ja, da hinten. Dort, da hinten. With a perfect sail trim, we make a boat speed of 6.4 knots in a wind of 12. For a racing sailor like Markus, this is not enough. So it's time to bring out the cruising chute.
Ja, aber 12 Knöpfe und 7 wird schlecht.
But by the time our biggest sail is set, the wind becomes fickle. And then it dies again. This is what sailing in the Norwegian fjord looks like, I guess. Oben zeigt er nach, unten nicht mehr.
Oh, jetzt dreht er oben.
Aber dann mal laufen wir mal rein. Kommt, aber der Wind.
So.
And no matter how hard we try, it will not come back, forcing us to take the sails down.
Letzte Einfahrt in
Letzte
Hafen.
Einfahrt, ja. Trondheim nach wunderbaren 2 Wochen. Wir haben es unheimlich genossen.
Gut, machst du das Ding auf? Ja.
Ja.
Our freshly caught cod, pan-fried by the chef, tastes delicious.
Happy?
Very happy.
Very happy.
Looks delicious.
Sehr happy. Trondheim is the final destination for Nina and Markus. It is here where they will leave Polaris as their holiday comes to an end. We had an amazing time. Thank you very much for visiting us. From now on, Catherine and I will be on our own for a while. venturing further north towards the Arctic Circle and beyond. We're just leaving Trondheim in wonderful weather. We actually had the most beautiful summer weather the last couple of days. Although it's just mid-May, the temperatures went up to 30 degrees at lunchtime and maybe down to slightly below 10 overnight, so it's absolutely beautiful, and we're on the way. It's a short hop. We're going to do 22 nautical miles to a small harbour just at the entrance of the fjord into Trondheim. I guess that's sailing in the fjords here. We had a nice breeze of about 12-13 knots with an apparent wind angle of 35 to 40 degrees, which would just be perfect. No waves and nothing. So we decided to pull up the sails. That we did, and now guess what the wind is? It's 7.4 and we have it almost straight on the nose. So no sailing. All the work for nothing so far, but we hope maybe it will change again. My good friend Patrick once told me, as soon as your wife starts buying basil and stuff that is actually potted, you really got a problem, because then you start to have a garden on board, and now look where we are. So I think I need to fight a bit on that one.
In my defense, I have to say, it was the only way to get any basil. And if you make a tomato, mozzarella salad, it has to be basil on the top. That's fine.
So a new experience. We're just around the corner in the same fjord, and we now have 19 to 20 knots coming down straight on your nose, despite the fact that we made a 90 degrees turn. So the wind just follows the fjords here, and if it's on your nose, then it's on your nose, so there's nothing to do. We now had another wind shift. It turned almost about 120 degrees or so at the speed of 19 to 20 knots. Just 120 degrees wind shift without nothing. It's impressive. Given the sometimes challenging conditions prevailing in the Norwegian fjords and sounds, we begin to understand why there are relatively few sailing boats, particularly Norwegian ones, up here. After a bumpy ride with up to 23 knots on our nose, we arrive in the small harbour of Hasselvika. This lovely little place played an important role in military history. Husnes Fort, part of the defences built to protect the approach into Trondheim at the end of the 19th century, was taken by the Germans at the beginning of the Second World War. And during the Cold War, at the end of the 20th century until 1998, it was used as a base for the Norwegian coastal artillery. As we get north, we discover that it is more and more common that guest harbours offer great facilities, not only with toilets and showers, but also with a lounge room, and some even have a kitchen for visitors to use.
Shower and toilet.
Yes, that's a toilet.
Yeah. But it's very clean, huh?
People are very friendly here. Although it was already closed, the shop, the shopkeeper just opened and asked, "Do you want something? Come in, that's fine." But we didn't need anything, but that wouldn't happen elsewhere. Polaris badly needs a fuel top-up, and soon we will have to deal with this little troublemaker, nesting right at the cleat of the fuel pontoon. Whilst I discovered the military history of the place, Catherine needs a bigger physical challenge. and decides to go for a run in the hills with a beautiful view.
Sorry.
This black-legged kittiwake seems quite unimpressed about us. Well, you have to be unimpressed about boats and diesel if you build your nest almost on the cleat of the fuel dock. But our careful approach seems to be appreciated, and the bird continues its breeding despite us invading its breeding space. We're on our way from Hasselvika to Kuringvågen marina. This is about 41 nautical miles. We just started 1.5 hours ago on our way out of the Trondheim fjord. That's what we've done now. The idea is we turn around here, this land nose, and then we go in between the many skerries here, up here, and then around the nose here, through all these islands, up here, and then a final run into Kuringvågen. Here, there's a bridge to cross, that's 40 meters high, so that's not a problem. And yeah, we're enjoying a good sail. We had up to 26 knots of wind and gusts just about 15 minutes ago. We're on the Genoa, now the wind has come down. We have 15 knots of true wind, which is just on the low side, but we have time and we just take it comfortably. We're doing 4.5–5 knots over ground, and for the time being that's okay. Soon we have to anyway decide what we're going to do. It's going to be narrow in these channels, so I'm not sure whether we can sail or whether we'll do a motor sail just to be on the safe side. We are beating a strong flow of tide in between these two islands. It's 1.5 to 2 knots of tide against us at the moment, which is quite something. So it's a quite diverse sailing experience today so far. Here's the wind again. We have 19 true, 16 apparent. Put up the first reef in the main and the full Genoa out, and we're doing nicely. We're doing 7 knots over ground, 7.4 through the water. Good sailing. We are in a narrow channel, what I would define this. So just that mark over there, and then the other one is slightly further out, and so on the Norwegian rules we don't seem to have the way of right or with the commercial vessels, so we have to go right to the edge, and we have one cargo ship that's coming from behind us, and then there's one just going past us from the side, so we all three are about in the same spot at the same time, and we small sailing boat need to stick quite to the edge of the channel to let these guys pass, even though when we're on the sail we're still not supposed to be an obstacle for them. So the wind has almost died, and I just turned on the engine as a precautionary measure, as one does. The wind has died. Well, it's coming back now. It's 11 knots, still not a lot, doing 4.5 knots. So we take the proverbial virtual copper the British would do to see what we're gonna do, and if after that virtual copper the wind hasn't come back, we will put on the edge. The wind is very flimsy today. Sometimes it's almost completely off, down to 4 or 5 knots, and then it's up again. Now we are at what's that, 14 knots. Nice sailing, so it's good. It's good. Couldn't be better actually. There's no waves at all because we have wind coming from the land, and there's no space to build up the waves, and the sun is shining, the wind is cooling. It's just good.
Norway is the land of bridges. There are countless bridges that connect islands to the mainland and amongst each other. Sailing along the main shipping lanes, which are also used by the coastal cargo ships, the clearance of the bridges usually is no problem for Polaris's 22-meter high mast. But when we deviate from the main shipping lanes, we have to be extra vigilant about the clearance of bridges and also of electric cables. We have encountered a few places where the information on the chart is wrong and the obstacles are hanging much lower than indicated. And so, we arrive at our destination of the day in Kuringvågen. This sheltered harbour has been in use for centuries, and even today it is an often used stopover for boats on the way to or from Rørvik. The clubhouse with a kitchen and all usual facilities is open for visiting sailors. As we are keen to sail further north, we only stay in this lovely harbour for one night. Join us next time when we continue our journey to the Arctic via the town of Rørvik and Møyholmen, where we discover the mysterious mountain with a hole you can walk through, the Torghatten.